Have you ever wondered why someone suddenly comes to your mind, only to realize you might have been on theirs all along? Sometimes a woman doesn't say she misses you. She doesn't send long messages. She doesn't confess her feelings. Yet somehow, you keep appearing in her thoughts every single day. Not because she's trying to think about you, but because her heart quietly refuses to let you go. This is the story of Liam and Ava. A story that reveals 7 subtle signs a woman can't stop thinking about you. Liam met Ava during a photography workshop. At first, they were nothing more than classmates. They shared ideas, critiqued each other's work, occasionally laughed over failed photos. Nothing about their friendship seemed unusual. But over the next few months, something slowly changed. Every time Liam mentioned a favorite movie, Ava remembered it. When he talked about his favorite coffee, she remembered that too. Weeks later she would casually say, "I walked past that cafe you liked yesterday." Liam smiled. "You remembered?" She shrugged. "You mention interesting things." It sounded casual, but Liam noticed something. She remembered details even he had forgotten saying. People rarely remember small details unless someone occupies their thoughts far more often than they realize. One afternoon the class was asked to pair up for a street photography project. Without hesitation, Ava walked directly toward Liam. Another student laughed. "I knew you'd pick him." Ava smiled awkwardly. "We work well together." Maybe that was true, but there were plenty of talented photographers. She still chose Liam first. As they spent the afternoon taking pictures around the city, Liam noticed something unusual. Whenever something funny happened, Ava instinctively turned toward him before anyone else. Whenever she captured a beautiful photo, the first person she wanted to show was Liam. It wasn't planned. It was automatic. Psychologists often explain that when someone frequently enters our thoughts, they become the first person we instinctively want to share experiences with. Days passed. One evening Liam received a message. "Look what I found." Attached was a picture of an old bookstore. Months earlier he had casually mentioned wanting to visit it someday. He had completely forgotten. Ava hadn't. She wrote, "I remembered you saying you'd like this place." Liam stared at the screen. He smiled without realizing it. The message wasn't romantic, yet it revealed something powerful. People don't accidentally remember forgotten conversations. They remember because those conversations replay in their minds. A week later Liam was absent from class. Nothing serious, just a cold. The following morning Ava quietly asked, "Feeling better?" He looked surprised. "You knew I was sick. You looked tired before you left." "I just guessed." She tried to sound casual. But Liam wondered, out of 30 students, why had she noticed? Sometimes the people who think about you the most notice changes that everyone else misses. As winter arrived, the workshop organized a small photography exhibition. Everyone displayed their best pictures. Visitors walked around admiring the work. Liam wandered through the room until he stopped in front of Ava's collection. One photograph immediately caught his attention. It was a quiet park at sunset. On the bench, a man sat reading a book. His face wasn't visible, yet something looked strangely familiar. Liam smiled. "Is that supposed to be me?" Ava froze. "What?" "The jacket. The backpack. It looks exactly like mine." She looked at the photograph, then laughed nervously. "I guess I used you as inspiration." "Used you as inspiration." Those words stayed with Liam. Artists often create from what occupies their minds, whether they realize it or not. After the exhibition ended, everyone gathered for dinner. People chatted in small groups. Ava sat across from Liam. Throughout the evening, she laughed with everyone, yet every few minutes, her eyes quietly drifted back toward him. Not long enough for anyone else to notice. Just long enough for Liam to see. Whenever he looked up, she quickly looked somewhere else, almost embarrassed. Daniel, who had joined the workshop as a guest speaker, quietly smiled. "You've noticed, haven't you?" Liam frowned. "Noticed what?" "She checks whether you're okay. Constantly. I think you're imagining things." Daniel shook his head. "No, when someone keeps thinking about another person, their attention naturally follows them." Liam didn't answer, but for the rest of the evening, he started paying closer attention. Daniel was right. Ava wasn't staring. She wasn't trying to get attention. She was simply aware of him. Aware of where he stood, who he was talking to, Whether he looked happy, whether he seemed tired. The following week Liam received another unexpected message. "Guess what happened today?" He replied. "What? I'll tell you when I see you." The next afternoon they met before class. Ava excitedly shared every detail of her day. Halfway through the conversation Liam laughed. "You could have just texted me." She smiled. "I know. I wanted to tell you in person." That simple sentence revealed another hidden truth. Sometimes people save stories, not because they have to, but because sharing them with one specific person matters more. Later that evening Liam walked home thinking about everything that had happened during the past few months. The remembered conversations, the small messages, the instinctive smiles, the constant awareness, the tiny excuses to talk. Individually, none of them proved anything. Together, they formed a pattern that quietly whispered one possibility. Maybe he wasn't just someone Ava knew. Maybe he had become someone who naturally lived inside her thoughts. But Liam still hadn't seen the strongest signs. The moments that would leave no doubt. That no matter how busy life became, a part of Ava's mind always found its way back to him. Life became busier for both of them. New projects, long working hours, different schedules. Some days they barely exchanged a few messages. Yet something never changed. Whenever Liam disappeared for a while, Ava was always the first to notice. One Friday evening, Liam decided to take a short break from social media. No posts, no stories, no messages. He simply wanted a quiet weekend. 2 days later, his phone vibrated. It was Ava. "Everything okay?" Liam smiled. "Yeah, just taking a break." Her reply came almost instantly. "Good. I was starting to wonder." It wasn't a dramatic message, but it revealed something important. People usually don't notice someone's silence, unless that person often occupies their thoughts. The following week, they met at the workshop again. As soon as Liam walked in, Ava smiled. "There you are. You make it sound like I disappeared." "You kind of did." She laughed. "I wasn't used to not hearing from you." Liam noticed how naturally she had said it. There was no pretending, no excuse, just honesty. Sometimes the heart speaks before the mind has time to hide it. A month later, the class planned a weekend trip to the mountains. Everyone was excited. The scenery was beautiful. The air was fresh. Throughout the trip, people wandered in different directions taking photographs. Every now and then, Ava would stop, look around, and search for Liam, not because she couldn't enjoy the trip alone, but because every beautiful moment reminded her of someone she wanted to share it with. While watching the sunset, she quietly stood beside him. "It's beautiful." "It is." After a brief silence she smiled. "You know what's funny?" "What?" "I've seen sunsets before, but now, my first thought is always, I wish you could see this." Liam looked at her. She quickly looked toward the horizon, slightly embarrassed. Sometimes, when someone can't stop thinking about you, even beautiful moments feel incomplete without your presence. Several days later, Liam received a package. Inside was a small camera strap. Months earlier, his old one had broken during a photo walk. He had mentioned replacing it, then forgotten about it. A note inside simply read, "Thought you might still need this." No signature, no long explanation, just kindness. People rarely remember problems you've already forgotten, unless those conversations stayed alive in their minds. One afternoon Daniel joined them for coffee. After listening to their conversation, he smiled. "You two finish each other's sentences." Liam laughed. "I guess we've spent too much time together." Daniel shook his head. "No, that's what happens when two people pay close attention to each other." After Daniel left, Ava smiled quietly. "He notices everything." "So do you." She looked surprised. "What makes you say that?" "You always remember little things." She lowered her eyes. "I don't even realize I'm doing it." Exactly. The strongest signs aren't planned. They're automatic. That's why they're often the most honest. As spring arrived, the workshop finally ended. Everyone celebrated with a farewell dinner. People exchanged numbers, promised to stay in touch. As the evening came to an end, Liam and Ava walked outside together. Neither seemed ready to say goodbye. After a few minutes, Ava finally spoke. "Can I admit something?" "Always." She smiled nervously. "I've been trying to understand something." "What?" No matter how busy my day is. No matter how many people I meet. You keep appearing in my thoughts. She laughed softly. I'll hear a song, and think of you. I'll see a cafe, and remember one of your stories. I'll read a quote, and wonder what you'd think about it. She looked at him with complete honesty. I wasn't trying to think about you. It just happens. Liam remained silent. She continued. I finally realized something. When someone becomes part of your everyday thoughts, it's because they've quietly become part of your everyday life. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. Sometimes, the strongest feelings don't arrive through dramatic confessions. They reveal themselves through countless ordinary moments. Moments when someone remembers your favorite drink, notices your absence, saves stories to tell you, finds reasons to message you, shares beautiful experiences with you first, remembers details you've forgotten, and somehow, keeps thinking about you without even trying. If you're wondering whether someone can't stop thinking about you, don't focus only on what they say. Watch what they naturally do. Do they remember the smallest details? Do they notice when you're gone? Do they find excuses to contact you? Do they connect everyday moments back to you? Do they instinctively want to share good news with you first? One sign alone doesn't prove anything. But when those signs appear consistently over time, they often reveal a heart that quietly returns to the same person, again and again. Because the truth is, when someone genuinely can't stop thinking about you, you become part of their daily routine without even being there. And that's a place no words could ever fully describe.